Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you guys doing today? Hey, this is Gregory Wiles coming to you live from Houston, Texas with this inspirational morning walk. For first time listeners, I just get some exercise in the mornings and I share my thoughts with you guys. But today it's a rainy day. You guys know we had the storm past you here. Yesterday it was bad. The schools and everything was out. We had lots of rain, some wind, a little bit of wind, but mostly the rain. So we were off. Most people were off. All the government places were off, and schools and everything. So it's still a little rainy. So I'll sit in here. Not much outdoor activity today, but yes, it's still a good day. Still a good day. We got some rain that we needed. But anyhow, man, today we want to conclude this story. First of all, you can check on YouTube. I have all these stuff on YouTube. You can go on there if you miss anything and you can get caught up on what we did, because this is what we're doing today. We're going to finish up this little series that we started showing about if you when kids are being rejected, what's the outcome can be, what's the harvest they can reap from that. So you can go back and you can get caught up over the last 2 days if you're hearing this for the first time. But we'll conclude today. Here with this whole little series. So today, as I promised, we go. Remember last talk we look at the life of Simeon and Levi when the sister Dinah was raped and the father wasn't handling it properly. Jacob wasn't handling it properly, and they went and they take matters into their own hands and they kill a whole bunch of men. Tell the men they need to get circumcised. The father come and ask if he after the guy raped their sister and he fell in love with her and want to marry her, and those guys tell them, okay, let all your men get circumcised. And on the third day after the circumcision, when the man was incapacitated, Simeon and Levi went in and they killed all the men, and then take the women and children captive because they think the father was not handling the situation properly. He was not even upset because there's Leah's children, and he was rejecting Leah. And we went through the history how Leah become his wife, right? So I'm not going to go back over all of that. But today and now we can look at one more of his child, and then we can conclude. We can look at the life right now. Look at the life of Reuben. We can look at Reuben's life right now. We can look at Mr. Reuben's life, right? So first we can look at the death of Rachel. We can talk about it. So then they moved from Bethel. While they were still some distance from Arphath, Rachel began to give birth and had great difficulty. As she was having, calling Tom good morning, as she was having great difficulty in childbirth, the midwife said to her, "Don't despair, for you have another son." As she breathed her last, for she was dying, she named her son Benoni, but his father named him Benjamin. So Rachel died and was buried on the way to Ephrath, that is in Bethlehem. Over her tomb, Jacob set up a pillar, and to this day the pillar marks Rachel's tomb. Israel moved on again and pitched tent beyond Medal Edner. While Israel was living in that region, Reuben went in and slept with his father's concubine Bilhah, and Israel heard about it. So now this is what we're going to look at here. Reuben went and slept with his father's concubine. Can you remember Bilhah was Rachel's maid. Bilhah was Rachel's maid, right? I remember Bilhah had, after Rachel couldn't get children, she told her husband to sleep with Bilhah so he can, so the children that with Bilhah, she can take them as her kids, right? So Bilhah had two sons, it's Dan and Naphtali. This is all Jacob, part of the 12 tribes, right? But Reuben, after Rachel died, this was the father wife that he really loved, right? He really loved Rachel. She died in childbirth when she was getting Benjamin. Remember, she already had Joseph. So when she getting Benjamin, she died in childbirth. And right after that, Reuben went and slept with his concubine, which was Rachel's maid, right? So you might wonder why he did it. And then this part would say, and Israel heard of it. The father knew about it, right? Because this was a calculated move on Reuben's part. This was a calculated move on Reuben's part, right? And when you said Israel heard about it, Reuben didn't do this for no little sexual pleasures. He didn't do this just for some sexual pleasures, right? He did this because he tell himself, now is an opportunity for my mother, who was being rejected all this time, to get the father's attention and be the main wife for the father right now, because she was being rejected all the time because he loved her sister more, which was Rachel. So he said, now is my mother's chance to become the main person, right? But then he thought of himself, okay, what if since Bilhah was her maid, what if he decided to marry Bilhah and make her this main wife, and my mother still being rejected? So he decided, I'm going to sleep with her. So he defiled her. And that's why it wasn't no secret. He wasn't just doing this to get some pleasure and hide it from the father. He wanted his father to know about it, because now when he defiled her, the father, back there in the custom, the father would not have married her because she was defiled to sleep with another man. And worse off, the next man is his son. So he said, I'm going to take Bilhah out of the picture here. So I can left the door open for my mother only to get this position that she was rejected from all the time because of her sister. So now her sister's out of the picture. My mother can step into that role, right? But you see, when you're being led, he's being led by rebellion now. Remember, he was rejected. He acted out because of all this rejection they were facing all this time. And he figure, when, if my mother step into that role, we as the kids is going to step into that role, and we can get some respect, and the father going to, show us this attention now, because they were playing second fiddle to Joseph all the time. And now Benjamin come along, so they're going to be playing. So that's what's Reuben goal in all of this. But you see, when you're being led by rebellion, right, you don't thinking things through, right? Because remember, this is your stepmother. How you think your brothers, the Bible ain't going to this, but you know this had to cause some issues. Because your brothers, Dan and Naphtali, this is their mother. This is their mother. So how you think those guys would have taken this now that you did this to them, right? To their mother. But the Bible didn't get into that. But naturally there would have caused some issues there. But he really wanted to get at the father. So the father now would get to them, would take his mother, right? So he acting out of because of all this rejection, right? And he had to let the father know about it. It was not a secret. He did it so the father could know about it. He wants the father to know about it. It wasn't a secret. He didn't doing this for just no fun. He had a plan when he doing this, right? Because of the rejection, right, guys? So you see, that what the grandfather started by pushing this Leah on Jacob when he didn't love her. You see how it opened the door for all of these stuff. This is the harvest they're reaping, as Mr. Ewing labeled his teaching. This is the harvest of rejection. This is the harvest they're reaping. All of this going on. And the grandfather, Laban, probably dead and gone. But all of this going on with that decision he made, right? So let's see how this go on now. Let's see how Jacob handled this. Remember, just said he heard about it. He did nothing. He did nothing. He said nothing. So now let's fast forward to Genesis 49, right? Let's go on to 49 now and see now when Jacob, on his dying bed, you remember the act that Simon and Levi did, killed those men, and now he slept with this concubine Reuben. So let's see how Jacob handled this on his dying bed. Let's see if Jacob now say, you know what, guys, I know we had our time. I rejected you guys. I'm sorry about it. I'm dying now. Let's bury this hatchet to move on. Let's see how Jacob handled this on his dying bed. Right? We're going to Genesis 49 now. Then Jacob called together all his sons and said, gather around me, and I will tell you what will happen to each of you in the last days to come. Come and listen, your sons of Jacob. Listen to Israel, your father. So this was a custom back in the days. The father dying, he passed on all the blessings to his kids, the firstborn, what kind of take over the family and run things, and everything go down. So let's see how we handle this. Reuben, you are my firstborn, my strength, the child of my vigorous youth. You are first in rank and first in power. So good. Reuben probably saying, hey, I know me and my father had our issues, so now he's dying. He can bury this hatchet. He can finally give me the respect as the firstborn. I'm finally giving my due, and I can take over and run this family. I'm finally getting some respect from my father. And now in his dying bed, you know what? I'll take it. So he went on. So let me read that over again. Come, Reuben, you are my firstborn, my strength, the child of my vigorous youth. You are first in rank and first in power. But here we went on now, completely opposite in verse 4. But you are as unruly as a flood, and you will be first no longer. For you went to bed with my wife. You defiled my marriage couch. So you see, he held this in here. He didn't say nothing. He said, okay, Reuben, that's what you're doing. That's the game you want to play. All right, I got something for you. And on his dying bed, he leave a curse in Reuben, take away his firstborn rights, tell him he's not going to be first anymore. He's unruly as a flood. Right? And take away. So he put a curse. So the whole tribe of Reuben, the Reubenites, suffered. If you followed it, I did a teaching on this before. They struggled. Just this curse he put on them, the whole lineage, everything that come from Reuben's seed, they struggled. The Reubenites struggled until Moses has break the curse before they go into the promised land. Moses recognized the curse and he broke it. But for years, the Reubenites struggled when they should be first in line, first in rank as the firstborn. They should be leaders, but he put the curse in them. That's how Jacob handled this on his dying bed. Remember, because Jacob now, he is led by the spirit of rejection. Is leading him. He's still going to reject these guys till the last day. Right? So the kids are led by the spirit of rebellion, and the father is led by the spirit of rejection. He's going to reject them on his dying bed. He's still holding this grudge, right? So let's go. That's how we handle Reuben. Let's see what we do to Simeon and Levi, the next in line. So he went on. Simeon and Levi, two of a kind. Their weapons are instruments of violence. May I never join in meetings. May I never be a part of their plans. So he's separating himself. Take me out of everything we all do. Like, I'm not your father, bro. Whatever acts what you're doing, I'm not your father. I don't want to be a part of nothing you guys doing. May I never be a party to your plans. For in their anger, they murdered men. And they crippled oxen just for sport. A curse on their anger, for its fierce. A curse on their wrath, for its cruel. I will scatter them among the descendants of Jacob. I will disperse them throughout Israel. So look at this father, how he cursing his kids. He left a curse of anger on them. He said he's going to scatter them, the descendants, throughout the land. And he cursed these guys on his dying bed. He took this stuff to his grave. Right? And said, you guys, I'm going to get you guys. Right? And you know who was affected by this anger of the Levites? You know who was a Levite and who was affected by this anger? Our good friend Moses. Moses was from the tribe of Levite, and you know Moses' story, how he never get to go to the promised land, his anger. Moses was the meekest man. The Bible describes him as the meekest man. But because of this curse that Jacob put on on the whole tribe of Levite, Moses suffered that. Remember, Moses killed a man too. You remember? Simeon and Levi killed men because of the rape of his sister. When Moses see the Egyptian was taking advantage of his fellow Israelites, he went and killed a man. Then he had to flee. Then he grind up all the dust when them people was making the idol, the calf. He break it up. Then he make them grind it up, and force them to drink it. Then when God tell him to speak to the rock, to water, he whack the rock because he gets so upset, he gets so mad, right? So this same anger affect Moses from getting the promised land that Jacob did. So you see, this thing what Laban did, because of his selfishness, and forced Jacob to marry Leah when he didn't love her. You see how much effects it have, years and years, and Laban gone a long time, and this is 400 or 500 years after, this still affecting the door that he opened, still affecting these people, right? But my thing is, I want to tell people, somebody got to step up, and that's why God said, through knowledge, the just shall be delivered. Now you're getting this knowledge. If you in this situation, if you were the parent in this situation, for whatever reason, you were rejecting your kids for, it could be whatever reason, now you get this knowledge, you got to turn it around now. You got to make it up to them, apologize, move on, and don't let this go on. If you were the child in this situation that being rejected, you got to forgive and move on, and don't keep these things going. Somebody got to be the bigger person and step up and stop this from affecting their family bloodline, because that's how family curses come along. This is just one way how a family curse could come along. You can do it by, worshiping idols and all that, but this is a door that opened due to one man's selfishness. All right, so guys, so I hope you get this message. And when you're being led by rebellion, hear what the Bible says rebellion is. 1 Samuel 15:23. It said rebellion is as sinful as witchcraft, and stubbornness as bad as worshiping idols. So if you led by the spirit of rebellion, this is the kind of things you're going to do. You see, they murder a whole lot of men. He said it's as sinful as witchcraft, right? And Reuben go and sleep with his father's concubine, his brother's mother, right? Because it's as sinful as witchcraft, rebellion. So that's why you do not want to be led by the spirit of rebellion. So if you're a child and you're rebelling against your parents, just be careful, because it's going to lead you to do a lot of crazy stuff. That's going to affect you. When you think you're hurting your parents, you're hurting yourself. And parents, if you lead by that rejection, if you didn't realize it, please stop it right now, so you don't go on and affect more and more generations, guys. Right, guys? So I'm going to leave that there, man. But I want to hope we get the message with this family. We can learn a lot from this family, what rejection and rebellion, how it can destroy, how it can open doors to affect entire generations. And that's how we get generational curses, just this simple. We get some generational curses. See some families, they got anger issues, or they got different type of issues you can have. And you're saying, oh, it's running the family. His father was this, his mother was this, his auntie was this, his uncle. Oh, it's running the family. It's running the family because somebody opened that door to this. Somebody opened the door and let that in. So it can be stopped. That's the good news. It can be stopped. You can fast and pray and break these stuff off your family line if you see any of these negative patterns in your family. Right, guys? So I'm going to leave that there, guys. Have a great day. And we'll talk again on Friday. Not know what we can do, but I'm going to find something nice and informative to do on Friday. But you guys enjoy your day and, digest this information. I'll talk to you guys again on Friday. Okay, bye.